Hi, everyone. Drew Roberts here with Milwaukee Real Producers. Today we are speaking with one of our preferred partners, Steve Bast with 4 County Home Inspections. Steve's been an absolutely phenomenal partner from the beginning of Milwaukee Real Producers, although we launched back in August of last year. And so very excited to give everybody an opportunity to learn a little bit more about Steve and his business, and a little bit more about him as well. So Steve, really appreciate you taking your time today just to jump on a call and give us a chance to learn about you and your business a little bit more.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me. Yeah, we have been together for a long time with the magazine, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been just under a year, which is pretty crazy. But it's been an awesome ride so far, which is really cool. But I'd love to start off, Steve, and just give everybody, if you can give everybody a little bit background on yourself, just obviously with your company and tenure in the industry and things like that. I'd love to learn a little bit more about you.
Sure, not a problem. Let's see. I started 4 County just about 5 years ago, I guess now. And it's kind of funny how it came about. I had been doing bathroom remodels, and I did an attic build out, and I did some construction for a company friend of mine who needed a whole office suite built out. And honestly, I came home sore, and I was like, oh, I'm getting too old for this crap. My daughter's actually the one that suggested. She goes, well, Dad, why don't you look at being an inspector? And I hadn't even considered it, honestly, prior to that. And I went,
sure.
Well, all right. Well, let me look into it and see what's involved. And I had a lot of the overall construction knowledge to some degree. In fact, at one point in my career, I was selling home improvement products, furnaces, roofs, windows, the whole 9 yards. And as most people know, if you sell something, you have to kind of know that product front to back if you're going to be any good at it anyways.
Sure.
That company since kind of went away. so that kind of ended that, and I didn't really like the late night calls in people's houses and stuff, so it just kind of wasn't my thing, but I did learn a lot, so that's fun. But no, the inspection business has been good. I got no real complaints. I could always use a few more inspections, but other than that, it's been good. It's
very good. Awesome. What would you say? Obviously, there's different inspection companies out there, and I know when I had originally been referred to you, it was from a few different top agents that you've worked with for a long period of time. But tell us a few things that you feel like separate you from other home inspection companies that are out there.
Well, that's a great question. Because let's face it, at the end of the day, similar to agents, we all go through the same testing, we all go through the same licensing. Where it starts to get a little different is certifications, memberships, all that kind of stuff. But even past that, I know there are inspectors out there. It seems like it's their life mission to kill deals. I'm not one of those. And I was talking to one of my agents, and she goes, Steve, you're not going to believe this. I said, no, tell me. I love these horror stories. Tell me. And she goes, this inspector flagged, when you're painting a wall, and if you go too high on the wall with the roller, you have a roller mark on the ceiling, right, from the wall color paint.
Sure.
He flagged that as a defect.
Wow.
I just laughed. What are you going to do? I just laughed, So the biggest thing I guess I would say that my agents like is the fact that I take the time, because I'm going to find stuff. Okay, and I tell my clients that right from the get-go. I'm going to find stuff. You're buying a used house in most cases.
Sure.
Every once in a while, it's a new one, but as a general rule, it's a used house. There's going to be stuff wrong. But it's not the fact that it's wrong. It's my job, as far as I'm concerned, to point out everything, but then to offer solutions. Because if you only point out a problem without a solution, you're really not helping anybody. So I look at my job as, okay, we found there's a crack in the foundation. What do we do about that? Well, there's a couple of foundation guys you can call, and here's a couple of different solutions that is typical, and they'll make that judgment call. And here's a range I hate to quote range of pricing because that's all over the board for that example.
Sure.
But I think it's just a matter of, and my favorite quote is, it's not the problem that's the problem. It's how you handle the problem that's the problem. And I think that's has never been truer. I mean, that was an old sales guru guy that I met many, many years ago. And that one little quote stuck with me all these years because it's true. It's so easy to get people all upset. And let's face it, they're freaked out enough already. They've signed 1 million documents. They've used up all their savings. They're stretching dollars and cents. The last thing they want to know is, oh my God, what am I buying? Is this a money pit? I mean, at the end of the day, that's the reality, right? So I don't want to get them upset. I already know that they're already nervous. I try to be the calming factor and say, have a good inspection. A lot of times we'll be laughing, quite frankly. I do encourage my people under normal circumstances. We got different COVID-19 rules now, which we're in a crazy world right now. But under normal circumstances, I encourage my buyers to follow right along with me. I'll educate them about their house, about the systems in their house. I utilize the infrared camera too, because I've run into a lot of houses that have boilers or they have the in-floor heating. And how do you test in-floor heating other than, take your shoes off and, oh, yep, it feels warm to my feet. Well, if you got the infrared camera, you can see all the actual coils in the floor. Yep, they're all working. So that's kind of how I've evolved. And it's kind of some of the things that separate me a little bit. One of the big ones, and I always forget about this one because I think I take it for granted, is a service called Repair Pricer. And I offer Repair Pricer. I offered it for free for my agents for a year, for the first year I had it. I couldn't afford to do that forever, but it's still available on my website for a small fee. And what it does is it allows you to upload the finished inspection report. And within 24 hours, they'll get back to you with an estimate on every single item listed. And it'll be based on the zip code of the property. And the quote will be based on businesses around the area. Okay, so it's not just some wild and crazy quote coming out of left field.
Sure.
The agents that have used it have told me that they love it because, number one, it's a third party. It's not me saying, it's not them saying. So from a negotiation standpoint in the deal, it really, really helps a lot. So that's, I don't know of any other, now there might be, but I'm not aware of any other firms that are using it here in the Milwaukee metro area. So that would probably be a big one.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think too, Steve, I think you hit on something that I've definitely heard from a lot of agents when they're using home inspection or home inspectors or home inspection companies is, like you said, no matter what, something's going to get found. A lot of times if it's even new construction, there's things that are getting found, right? So that going into it with the mindset of saying, hey, we're probably going to find some stuff, but there's definitely a difference between needing to change a few outlets and, a foundation repair, right? So I think that's the big thing too, is I think the demeanor you have dealing with agents and dealing with their clients, I think is one thing that definitely sets you apart from other companies. And I think that's always so huge. But I know you touched on the COVID-19 thing that's going on right now, but what are some of the things you're currently doing to prepare for that, to your clients, and some of the things that you're doing just to make sure to stay safe and keep your clients safe?
Oh, absolutely. And great question. Best way to answer it probably is kind of to do almost a before and after. Before COVID, mom, dad, uncles, brothers, sisters, everybody was showing up at the inspections. And it was kind of, in some cases, a circus, which, I don't really appreciate. And most of my agents, they'll run, they'll kind of help me out with that to a certain degree. So otherwise the inspection takes forever. But now I really want to limit the amount of people. I'm not saying you absolutely can't come to your own inspection, because let's face it, it's your inspection. I would prefer to have one person, although I understand a lot of times it's husband and wife and they both want to be there, and that's okay. If they don't have masks and gloves, I asked them to get them. Or I mean, I have some gloves they could use, I suppose, but masks are a little short-handed right now. I do bring
Sure.
hand sanitizer with me, so we try to really keep it. Number one, keep a distance. Number two, limit the amount of people coming in and out. A lot of times now, the agents won't be there, and depending on the brokerage, a lot of them don't even want them there, and I get that.
Sure.
That's okay. So recently, I've done inspections all by myself, right? So it's like, okay, but when that happens, you know, I still feel I want my client who is buying the inspection to understand what it means. And sometimes when you're looking at a piece of paper, even though mine have pictures and videos and infrared photography, you still have questions. So
Definitely.
in this new world that we're all living in, I want to have a phone call with them, and if we want to do a conference or a Zoom or whatever, that's fine. Get everybody on the call, just so we're all clear. Just so there's, you know, I want to be as open with everybody as I can, yet still be
Sure.
efficient. Still be efficient about it too. We don't want to just, you know, waste time. But my inspection reports, for the most part, are fairly straightforward and fairly clear. They have the summary up front. And then it just goes room by room. And any defect is noted with pictures. Even if it's not a defect, some monthly maintenance items are mentioned with pictures and things, especially for new buyers. I want them to use the report as a manual. You know, my reports are, you know, anywhere from, well, it depends the size of property, but normal reports probably in the neighborhood of 50 to 60 some pages long. So they're very detailed. Obviously, it depends on how many rooms there are and
Sure.
you know, and all that stuff. But yeah, as far as COVID goes, it's a pain in the neck. I mean, honestly,
hopefully it's ending soon. I think we're seeing a little bit of the light at the end of the tunnel here, which I think is very encouraging, but we'll see how the next few weeks play out and kind of go from there. So.
Well, I had a conversation with I called about 15 of my agents yesterday and actually got through to about 5 of them. And the ones that I did get through to, some were busy, some were not busy, but even the ones that were not busy were saying, hey, you know, the pipeline is really getting built up. So there's going to be a tsunami of business coming your way. It's just, we're not exactly sure when, and everyone's competing for the 5 houses that are for sale. You know, inventory is always a challenge, has been a challenge
Sure.
for the last few years. So that's kind of,
yeah, I think you're spot on with that too, because we've had a few calls with agents that, you know, that's really where they're at too, is they're saying, you know, the amount of inventory that's out there right now is pretty limited. It has been, like you said, for a while, but they're kind of anticipating this market where there's going to be more houses on the market than we've seen in recent history. And so I think it's really about a lot of our businesses prepping to get ready for what potentially is going to happen in the next 6 to 9 months of this, you know?
Well, right. It's, well, no one has really a crystal ball, but, you know, I mean, I forecast my business like a lot of guys do based on past history. Well, we didn't have a pandemic in the past history, so this year's a little
Sure.
you know, so you can kind of throw that.
I don't think anybody saw this coming.
You can kind of throw that one out the window. But even that being said, there's still only, every year, Wisconsin as a whole, there's about 80,000 real estate transactions in the entire state, on average, you know, and it breaks up based on the metropolitan areas after that.
Sure.
I don't, you know, will it make a dip here, you know, in second, will second quarter kind of stink? Yeah, probably. Will we make it up in third and fourth? See, that's really the unknown right there. That's the unknown. Are we going to play catch up? You know, for me, honestly, historically, my busiest time of year is usually second and third quarter, you know, the spring, summer months. And then as it gets into third and fourth, fourth and first rather, it tends to slow down because of holidays and family and back to school and all the various things life happens.
Sure.
So we've kind of, we've adjusted the business for that model. But now I don't know. I mean, this whole year is going to be kind of a crapshoot, I think. I mean, honestly, it really has. So I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I know we're still okay. We're hanging in, and we can always use a few more inspections out there. Got to get that other plug in. Call me today.
Yeah. Very cool.
But
well, I think this has been awesome, Steve. I think really from a standpoint, obviously for us with Milwaukee Real Producers is, we're partnering with the best businesses out there, and you're definitely one of them that's been referred to us numerous times by multiple top agents, and just the work that you do. And so I appreciate, the agents definitely appreciate you supporting this platform, supporting them. But I think it's been really, really awesome to kind of get a little bit of an insight into you and your background and things like that. Love to wrap up a little bit, but before we do that, I'd love to give you a chance just to kind of leave us with any last pieces just about you or 4 County Home Inspections.
Well, let's see. I'll do a little bio on me. Married forever. Forever in this case means 42 years. 2 adult kids, 5 grandkids. That's probably the hardest part with this COVID thing is, not being able to run up and get a big hug from your grandkids.
Yeah.
That's, that hurts. That's not good. So I think there's going to be, they always say, what are the side effects of this social isolation? Well, I think one of it, there's going to be a lot of issues with mental illness. I think that's going to be an issue. But as far as the business, I think we covered that fairly well. People can certainly go to my webpage. I would encourage it. Poke around. There's tons of referrals there. There's just a ton of information up there. There's the whole blog post. There's the podcasts are up there. Yeah, there's a lot. Well, you can even play around with repair pricer a little bit if you choose to.
Definitely, and I will say too, we will have the your website, in the bottom of the video, and the little recap that we'll do, but also the podcast. You did invite me on a podcast. I am on one of those, but I think the podcasts are really cool, and I would say for agents out there wanting to just learn more about the industry, about home inspections. I mean, Steve does a really phenomenal job of using that podcast just to provide and be a platform to provide more information too. So we'll also make sure to post that in our recap from the video as well, just to give everybody an opportunity to click on that and listen to some of the podcasts that you've done. So awesome. Well, Steve, really, really appreciate your time today and giving everybody an opportunity to learn a little bit more about you. And we look forward to definitely seeing you at the next event, which will hopefully be very soon. We will get that off the ground, but we'll definitely see you soon.
Yeah, that last event was crazy. It was so busy. It was awesome.
I know.
It's like this. It's like this. Hi, how you doing?
I've literally said this, I think, to everybody that I've talked to in the past 4 weeks, but we want to make it big because hopefully it'll be right after everything goes away and we can just have a really awesome event and still get our 4 events in for the year. So
that'd
awesome.
Be nice. All right, Drew. Hey, thanks for the time today. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
Definitely. You as well. Thanks so much.
Take care.